What's up, guys? We are jumping into another Pitbull. This time we're going to be drafting from the 11 spot. So, yeah, let's get it. Draft fires off in about 15 seconds here. So, from the 11, maybe we get a CD Lamb or Jefferson to fall to us. Maybe we go Ashton Genty, James Cook. Maybe, actually, I've been seeing Genty creep in actually a little bit higher, but, James Cook, Omari, and Hampton. Um, yeah, we started 2RB, we started 2RB. So we are off and running. Gibbs goes off the board. Big surprise. You know, I've seen some wild stuff. I think in another draft we saw James Cook go off from the 1-1, which, again, you guys know I'm a Bills fan, but my goodness, right? Like, I made it James Cook at the 11, and I like James Cook with my second player more than James Cook up here with, I forget who he took. I don't remember. I think he went Jeremiah Love at the turn here. All right, Chase, Nakua. I mean, I don't I don't have a lot of Jefferson. He may be someone that we consider. Um, all right. St. Brown believer here in the 5 spot. I love St. Brown. I think he's just picture of consistency. Jaffrey goes off the board. Presumably Taylor's up next. There we go. All right. So this gives us Genty if this goes chalk here. I might just take Cook from this spot. Jefferson goes off the board. CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, I'm going to go James Cook here. I want to start with my guy. And then we'll just pick up one of these running backs. I'm not going to reach on London or Bowers or anything like that. I'd like to get Hampton here. So let's see if that pans out for us. And Coach Hampton, I don't know if I've started that this season, but I like it. Genty. And yeah, perfect. So 12 does exactly what they're supposed to do, or what the rankings say it's supposed to do. And we wind up with Hampton. I love it. So presuming that this goes, the third round this year is a little wonky, so we'll see. But presuming we're going to be drafting from the 35 and the 38, and if we go look at our ADP here, you know, we're going to be looking at some smattering of these guys, which I like Ibuka down here. I like Javonte Williams. I tend to try to, I love Allen, obviously. If we get Allen at the 4-2, I'll consider that. But again, you get into this conundrum where your wide receiver room's going to suffer. And in this format, you do start 3 wide receivers. Plus, you like them to appear in your flex every once in a while. But when you actually start with 2 RBs, 1-2, like we're basically saying, hey, these are the guys who are going to show up in our RB slot. And so you expect the running backs who are in similar ADPs to the wide receivers you get later on to wind up in your flex occasionally. Okay, all the running backs go off the board. I mean, you just have 8 straight running backs from the 111, just 8 straight running backs right off the board, which is, what this year kind of comes down to. Um, London Brown Pickens, love. So no elite tight end guys so far. Uh, Bowers, are we going to watch Bowers wheel into the 3rd round? No way. I think the Gibbs player is going to get Bowers. Wow, that is strong. You see Bowers go up here sometimes. I mean, he commonly goes in here in the middle. Like one of these 3 players chooses Bowers as their second pass catcher, right? You see that happen, but that's wild. I also Zay Flowers. I guess they're going to try to get Jackson down here. I'm not a huge Zay Flowers guy, and it's not because I'm a Bills fan. I'm not. He doesn't score touchdowns, so maybe this is gonna be a different year, but just too many people scoring touchdowns on that team. All right, Nakua, Pickton, Smith, 0 RB through 3 right here, but insanely good wide receiver core. Insanely good wide receiver core. If we do wind up with a Javonte Williams down here, um, It'll be hard for me to pass. If we do that, though, we really can't take Allen on the turnaround. We have to start our wide receiver room with one of these guys if we grab Javante Williams. The other idea is if we liked one of the receivers. I mean, I just like Javante Williams better. It's not that I dislike McConkey, McMillan, or Ibuka. I just think there is a teardrop after Javante, and I actually have Javante ahead of ETN this year. So, I mean, we're on the clock, and we got ETN and Javante. Let's grab Ibuka, and we should get one of those guys on the turnaround because I like Ibuka the best out of those receivers, and I do have a preference over Tet, Wilson, and Burden. And then we should be able to pick up ETN or Williams here because, and the reason I'm thinking that is we draft again at the 59, and the running backs down there at the 59 don't look great, right? You're in Jadarian Price land, so. All right. So yeah, our buddy goes. So we get Javante Williams. That's just unbelievable. So we can pretty much ignore running back for a while. Our backfield is sick, and now we just want to stack up a receiver. So we'll be Allen Doe's here, by the way. So this is the problem that the 12 spot puts them into. This is an awesome start. Remember, you start three wide receivers here, and you have a flex spot, right? So now if you look at them drafting at the 60, 61, and we go look at 60, 61 ADP, right? You're kind of starting your room with at best, Carnell Tate, maybe a Rome Odunze, maybe a Jordan Tyson is where you're starting your wide receiver room. Those guys are great wide receiver two or threes. They're not great receiver ones. Just from the points you just are going to be struggling with, unless again, this is a way to draft. I think you at least need a couple of wide receivers through five, two or three. Um, and I think it's easiest. Not maybe you don't get the best team, but it is easiest in terms of decision making to draft balance. If you get a wide receiver in the first, you're running back in the second, and vice versa, because it just allows you the flexibility through the third, fourth, and fifth round to just really lean into whatever the positional fall has been. Whether maybe some of the wide receivers are lagging or maybe some of the running backs are lagging, you can pick up the positional value either way without jeopardizing your construction or jeopardizing the balance of your team. So I think that's the benefit there. The Robinson player has Olave, Flowers, and McLaurin. I think that's a pretty good stack. If they grab Jackson here on the turn, they'll have to bump him a little bit, but they did grab Flowers, and I don't think they're going to get Daniels back. Maybe. We'll see. One spot opposite, don't know, one running back through five, so we're going with the hero RB. Yeah, Price. Price is the last bastion player that just, to me, he just really reached, right? This guy's ADP is behind a lot of these guys. I mean, you've got Prices down here, and you've got some real heavy hitters still on the board. You guys know I love Jawkins, which goes there. Montgomery's going to be good this year, I think. Quietly, maybe he's going to be like top 12 running back, top 14 running back. Tootin, I think, is going to be good this year. So we are not going to look for running back, but we didn't suppose those guys were going to get back to us anyway. We're going to be grabbing one of these wide receivers, Watson, Adunze, Tate. We can't really afford to go QB early either. I'd like to get a couple more receivers, but Ibuka opens us up to Mayfield. If we go Watson here, it'll open us up to Love. If we go at Dunze, we're probably not going to get Williams. Where we sit on the board, I guess we could get Williams down here, but I doubt it. Okay, the Higgins player takes Jackson. The Burden player takes Jackson. The Jefferson player takes Jackson there. That's interesting. With Bashal Tune still on the board. That's interesting because that's quite a drop off down to Chuba. Thomas, okay. Let's grab a Dunze. I'm a little higher than Watson. If Watson's here at the turnaround, we'll take him. But this guy needs wide receivers like real bad, real bad. Moore didn't make it back to him, but he needs some wide receivers. So I don't love Harrison. We could grab Williams on the turnaround here. That is an option that we could do if we wanted to make sure we get our first piece of stack. Okay, I like Carnell Tate. I like Jordan Tyson. I like both those guys. So we'll see. I think we won't. Yeah, we're not going to pay Williams money. We're going to go with one of these guys. I think I have more Tate than Tyson. I think but I think he's just going to be better this year. So let's take him. So we'll be looking to grab Cam Ward. We're not going to get Caleb Williams. We're going to be grabbing Cam Ward, Baker Mayfield. Okay, so this is great. For as strong as we started off our backfield with, we really have quote unquote caught up. We do not necessarily have an anchor wide receiver unless Emeka Mbuka does next year for most of the year what he did at the beginning of his first year. And if he does that at the end, let's say, and he's being a top 10 receiver week in, week out, then he's a fine wide receiver one. So he kind of has to achieve his ceiling for this to work out really well. But I think Roma Dunze and Carnell Tate. So again, obviously a lot of hype on Burden this year. I think the sample size is too small to say that a Dunze is not going to be um, have a large percent of those catches. And I know there's a lot of mouths to feed with Loveland and Burden, but I just sit more in the Adunze camp. Like, have we forgotten what he did for the first part of last year? It was really good. Okay, so a couple of QBs off here. Interestingly enough, the Jefferson Higgins Burden player takes Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, and the Higgins player here passes on Joe Burrow. So I don't know. And then the Chase player passes on Burrow again. That's wild work. This player wants to go off with Williams and Gibbs, I'm assuming, but wild. Down here, so just the ADP for the quarterbacks we want is considerably lower, which is nice. So Mayfield's 118, and Cam Ward is 139. And if we're going to go Mayfield and Cam Ward, we do need a third. So I just don't want, if I'm going to kind of go that strategy, I don't necessarily want to just take a naked, like, you know, Dart or Herbert or Lawrence necessarily when we know we're going to go after two of those guys a little bit later because the positional players are phenomenal up here. Like at 83 ADP, we're going to be looking at we still have Reed on the board, Addison, Godwin. So I'll be looking to take one of these, and then maybe we look at a quarterback from the turnaround. But I want one of these receivers. Godwin's interesting because then we could definitely prioritize taking Mayfield, who goes at um, 118. Right? We can prioritize taking him. We could even reach on him at 110. We should be totally fine. And Cam Ward, we should get at 131, which gives us a ton of positional advantage through here. So if we know we're going to kind of target those guys, then, and Loveland took Williams, by the way, we can go ahead and grab. I'm overweight on Quentin Johnson, but we'll see. He goes. Okay. I don't have a lot of Reed this year. I like Addison and Godwin. Maybe we take Reed and Godwin if we can get both of them. And then maybe I'm not really sure what Love's ADP is. All right, so we'll take Jaden Reed this right here. I don't know what ADP for Jordan Love is. It's 111. So we can maybe get him here. I don't know. I feel like he goes higher than that. We're doing a lot of these drafts. Jordan Addison and Chris Godwin, both in good shape here. Think Addison goes. I think I take Godwin. There's also RG Harvey, but I'm a little bit less on him. And given the way we started with running backs, like I feel like this is a really solid room with Mbuka, Adunze, Tate, Reed, and Godwin, and now we're just going to go try to gobble up some of the quarterbacks that stack. And then we have Quick Hampton and Javante Williams as kind of like our anchor running backs, and then we'll just slam a couple late. So if we prioritized one in there, had we looked at um, some of the running backs in there, I think we got the right value. Again, you have Harvey, Monungai, and Corn, but I'm not super high on them. I'm actually higher on Dobbins. If Dobbins falls, we could look at him. But I'd rather be just shooting my shots on the Gainwells and Rashad Whites and Aaron Joneses of the world after I start with this type of running back core. Like, I don't consistently need production out of any of them. I just need occasional good weeks from them. So, because we're going to bank that two of those three are making our lineup every time, right? Just whichever two of these three have the biggest weeks, they're going in our lineup, and occasionally one of them is going to wind up in our flex too, if this has any chance of being a winning team. So then knowing that, we really only have to come to the table with three wide receivers, maybe 50% of the time. And Ibuka has a chance to be the number one receiver on his team, and Dunze could be, probably won't be, but even if he is, like his target share will be shared, but could be the number one receiver on his team. Tate will be the number one receiver on his team. Reed probably won't be the number one, but he's probably the number two behind Watson, and Godwin's probably the number two behind Ibuka. Which, speaking of which, because we have Reed, and because of where we are on the board, we might be able to consider looking at Golden, and then scooping off Love on the turnaround because Golden is 109 and Love is 111. They're right close. They're very right next to each other on the board, and we've got 107 and 110. So we might be able to do the double stack with Love, and then that would put us at 131. So how does that put us for Mayfield? Mayfield is 118, so he'd have to fall, but then we could still grab Cam Ward, and then just grab another quarterback, one other later. We could do that. Um, our other option would be to just go ahead and get. I mean, we do have the double stack. I think Mayfield's kind of important, so we could go now that we've kind of caught up at wide receiver. We could double tap quarterback here. The problem with doing that is we're going to have um, there's better quarterback value on the board than the ones we're looking at. So if we take two of them and they're considerably weaker than the best quarterbacks on the board, it doesn't make a lot of sense. This doesn't make any sense at all, actually. So if the whole point of getting the stack like this is to also get the quarterback pieces at value. Now we know we do want three quarterbacks given we're taking our first one in the ninth round here. But like if we were going to double tap quarterbacks, I'd be looking at Brock Purdy as one of them, right? He's really, you know, I have him as a higher rated quarterback than Jordan Love. So I think here though, I mean if we take Purdy, we might be able to get no. I still want Love. So let's take Golden, and then I think we get Jordan Love on the turnaround. And like I said, Mayfield, if he doesn't fall, he doesn't fall. It is what it is. I mean, we do want the stack, but I'm not going to overpay for him. We're betting this team on Jordan Love if we take him here. Purdy, we're not going to get. We get Pearsall potentially now. Probably not. He's probably already gone, actually. Now that I look at who's left, yeah, he's done. Okay. All right, well, we're on the clock. So, all right, we have our choice. It's hard for me to click Jordan Love over Purdy here. Like, but when we take Golden and Reed, like we're kind of setting ourselves up to do that. And yeah, because we have Godwin and Ibuka, it would have been nice to have Baker Mayfield. It's not impossible hit for him to fall. Where's his ADP? His ADP is 119, and we're at. I mean, we're probably not going to get him, but a lot of these folks have multiple quarterbacks already. So the St. Brown player passed on golf. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe that's just objectively wrong. Taking Love, you know, I don't know. Maybe I was supposed to take Purdy over Golden there. Who knows? If if Mayfield doesn't fall, we definitely get Cam Ward in range here. We should get Cam Ward in range there. And if we don't get Cam Ward, then um, we'd still be looking at like Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers, which we might be able to. Well, Daniel Jones doesn't backstack. We'd have to look for maybe Aaron Rodgers and try to backstack him with Farmouth. No quarterbacks out of the four. Just as going to go ahead and draft Shador and Watson later. It's cool. All right, so put in Hamptonshire bye week, so we need another running back for sure. We got to pay attention to that when we draft another running back, which we will be looking at two of these guys down here. Two, three, four. We have six. Great. Any bye week? Yeah, three of them are on 10. Two of them are on 11. That's okay. We'll get a couple. We'll probably get at least one more, if not two. And we'll pick up probably two more running backs. And we'll try to get one of our quarterbacks. Who's left on the board quarterback wise? Mayfield's next up. I think we get Mayfield or Cam Ward. If we don't, I'm not going to super stress it. It's just one bullet. So um, we'll see. Mayfield doesn't staff for anybody. Okay, the four spot passes quarterback again. Just between Judkins and Concepcion, they're just going to bet on. Mayfield goes to the staffer player. All right. I think we get Cam Ward. There's still names I think that people like better than him. It's healthy. We will need to grab three tight ends at the back end here. So we're going to take Cam Ward, and then we're going to grab a running back. Chris Rodriguez is fine. Uh, Woody Marks is fine. Well, I guess I could grab Keaton Mitchell as like kind of like a handcuff. Now I'll take a look at Woody Marks. 5, 7, 8. I don't think I want to do that. I'll write it Chris Rodriguez here. Wait, well, Chris Rodriguez. I think this is the first time I'm getting to take him, so that feels pretty good. And then with these two quarterbacks, we probably want one more. And we'll be drafting on the next turnaround in the 155, 158 range. Quarterback in that range looks like Bryce Young. Otherwise, we're reaching. We can probably punt another. We can punt another round, right? Because then we'd be at 172. And yeah, we're going to be late on that. So all right, we'll see who comes back around if we want to make that decision. See if we can get a cheeky stack in there, and if we can't, we can't. No big deal. Um, but yeah, we'll grab a running back almost assuredly. Kraft, we're obviously not getting. We'll maybe look to grab Gunnar Helm so that we get a stack with Ward. Have double stacked with Ward. I like the Golden Reed stacked with Love. Buka and Godwin. Yeah, I like the team. I like the team. I think it's strong. All right, Johnson, Darnold, Stroud, Goddard goes. Um, Running back wise, because we got Chris Rodriguez there, can we wait on a fifth? I think we're only going to go five in this build. And I like guys like Bigsby and Sampson and Tucker. Yeah, maybe take one more of those. All right, so let's see what we're going to do here. We do need three QBs. So we'll just grab a whomever down here. Take Aaron Rodgers if he falls. There's goes Deshaun Watson. No, Deshaun Watson's still there. No, then he went actually, right? No, he's still there. All right. I don't love Bryce Young, but we should take him. Yeah, I'm not really. Any of these guys are fine. I don't care. Doesn't matter. And all right, Gatson goes. Flournoy. It's a little high for Flournoy, isn't it? Just that your guy. That your guy. Yeah. Yeah, Barkley ETN ended up grabbing Tootin as well, and their room starts with Watson, and it's got Watson, Pierce, Addison, Wandell Robinson. I mean, I guess it could be worse, but he's only got four wide receivers total, right? So he's behind, as it were. I don't love Pacheco. I don't love Naylor. Who we got for QB? Um, of these guys, like I kind of feel like Rogers is going to give you like more. Yeah. So if we go to or here, I don't love any of these names. All right, the heck with it. Take Rogers. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I timed out. It gave me Chidatonkwa. Shit. I don't have him at all. So all right, again, let's reach on Bidsby. Let's grab him. I don't care about the quarterback. Whoever I stuff in their third doesn't matter. All right, got Chid. I mean, he's in Washington, so could be an improved setting for him. We will look to grab Helm, but he's a much lower. He's down here at 182, so we get him right on schedule here. And then with these five running backs, I think we stick with five, and we need let's see, one more quarterback, two more tight ends, and another receiver. I think that's probably right. Yeah, we'll just grab one more quarterback, throw um another two of these tight end dudes in, and grab a wide receiver. And that'll give us seven wide receivers, five, three, five, seven, three. That works. Since we only need one more wide receiver, I'm not perturbed. It doesn't make any difference. I'd rather try to go after the tight ends. That Schultz is good, Helm is good. Because like all the wide receivers in here are just whatever, and like Bernard's good, but I've got a fair amount of him. I just tend to take him. I tend to take Wicks in here too. They're all the same. Like in the last round, we'll just grab like a Darnell Mooney or a Cooper Cup or a Troy Franklin. I don't care. We'll grab one of those. So I'd rather prioritize the tight ends I want if I can get them. And yeah, is Rogers still on the board? And the only reason I'm picking him is Fryerman. Oh man, Kate Otten. If we had grabbed Mayfield, we'd have like the trip. We'd have the triple stack. Have basically the Buccaneers, whole Buccaneers team. I just will still throw them up there. Um, yeah, this is a sneaky little bash stack that you can pull off sometimes. Because they're right next to each other in ADP. So okay, cool. So someone pull in the final two rounds, Tua and Penix. They were the London drafter, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I think the next time I do London, I'll look to do that. I think they ended with four QBs though, if I remember correctly. But they only got one premium one, and then their last two rounds, rather than picking the Darnell Mooney's off the world, they were picking Atlanta's offense essentially. So yeah, they had to hold four quarterbacks, but it didn't jeopardize their construction strength too much because they were sacrificing, you know, they were sacrificing like Surratt and Franklin and Bryant, who may have one big week all year long, right? So if it gets back here and I have my choice, and I do, who do I want to take? You know, we're going to take Aaron Rodgers, and then I'll take Gunnar Helm or Fryermuth on the turnaround here. The honorary auto draft there with Chid. It seems to happen to me at least one time. It gets to me, and I start thinking about it, and talking with you guys about it, and I just missed the draft pick. So we should be able to snap off Firemouth here. If this does me justice, 1 or 2 weeks this year, it'd be pretty good. There's also Jeremy Bernard. Ah, interesting. Yeah, we just grab Firemouth. That's fine. Nice. I was staring at him. Wait, he's not there. Yeah, snipe. All right. One more wide receiver. All right, one more wide receiver, one more tight end. We're done. Jordan Love, Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers, James Cook, Amari Hampton, Javante Williams, Chris Rodriguez, Tank Bigsby, Ibuka, Adunze, Tate, Reed, Godwin, Golden and Reed, stacked with Love, and Tate, stacked with Cam Ward, Chiditantu, Pat Fryermuth, and tight end to be named. And then one more wide receiver in the final round. Wide receiver de jour. Darnell Mooney. We'll throw Cup in there. Surratt. Uh, yeah. I guess you could throw Judy in there. Blake Washington. So I like the team. Um, I do. I like it. I think that hammering wide receivers so hard 5 times in a row after taking 3 running backs in the first 4 actually did us some justice. Um, it was tough based on ADP to try to grab Love and Mayfield, but I think Mayfield, if I somehow had wound up with Love, Mayfield, and Ward with this conglomeration of players, it would have been the best. But and at least at 2 out of 3. Um, Again, we passed on Purdy here for Love, and I think that may be just objectively wrong. But when we took Reed and Golden, we're saying, hey, in week 17, these guys are going to go wild and win us a lot of money. Seems reasonable. Seems like what we're doing here, pretty much. All right. Lane goes, we're just going to get one of these 2 tight ends, and then we'll flip and take a wide receiver. And that will be a draft in the books. I love doing these drafts. I'm lucky enough to be in a place in life where I can afford to do these drafts, and I love doing them. It's so much fun drafting before redraft season and actually having skin in the game, actually having some stakes, and not just mock drafting. All right, on deck, we'll grab the City, and then we'll get one of these just outstanding wide receivers. Should I grab? Who have I not grabbed? Is Tyreek Hill going to play this year? I doubt it. I mean, he might. Keep grabbing Coleman down here too. Last time I grabbed Mooney. Let's do Bryant this time. Hmm. Or not. I'm gonna take my guy Coleman. All right. So team turned out to be Jordan Love, Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers, Cook, Hampton, Williams, Rodriguez, Bigsby, Adbuka, Adunze, Tate, Reed, Godwin, Golden, Coleman, and then Okonkwo, Fryermuth, and Jasicki. Fryermuth is stacked. Golden, Reed, and Tate are stacked. Yeah, pretty good looking team. Pretty good looking team. And I'm just glancing across this pod. The 3 spot has an interesting build going on here, but their wide receiver in Chase, Harrison, Downs, Pearsall, Higgins, Tucker. They wound out with Brissett and Stroud. Oh, and Burrow. It's interesting to go Burrow and still wind up with 3 quarterbacks. Um, the 1 spot goes Knicks, Goff, Murray in a row. They've got Goff stacked with Williams. They've got Nick stacked with Waddle. Murray is naked, it would appear. But just. The Flowers player winds up with Hurts. Yeah, Jackson gets sniped by Hayden's player, who then promptly takes Daniels. Lamb and Thomas got paired with there. Oh, and Parker Washington. This is interesting. So he got Prescott and Lamb, and he's got Lawrence and Parker Washington and Brian Thomas. So, all right. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, overall, I think it's a good draft. Yeah. Appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you wouldn't mind and you like the video, hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all in the next one.